Coming up on Inside the Summit League, the preseason polls are out for men's and women's basketball. See where they stack up with the start of the season just a couple of weeks away. The Denver men's soccer team stays solid in the national top 10 after a tight win in Tulsa, while the North Dakota State women stay unbeaten halfway through the Summit League season. And we will jump in the pool with the Coyotes as our Summit League swim teams dive into a new season this week. Hello, welcome to Inside the Summit League. Soccer and volleyball and cross country all getting into the heat of the regular season right now. Swimming and diving just getting going. And basketball is getting set to tip off in just a couple of weeks. The preseason predictions are out tonight, and both the South Dakota State men and women have the honor and the burden, I guess, of being the team picked to win the Summit League regular season championship. Now, the SDSU men were last year's co-champions in the regular season along with North Dakota State, but SDSU gets 30 of the 34 first-place votes, and this is from the league coaches, the sports information directors, and some media members. Now, the Jackrabbits have 4 starters back, including last year's Summit League newcomer of the year, DeAndre Parks. George Marshall and Jake Biddle and Reed Tellinghusen are all back in that starting lineup for the Jackrabbits. North Dakota State's men won the Summit League Tournament Championship last season under Coach of the Year David Richmond. The Bison also have 4 starters back with Corey Brown and Carlin Dupree and A.J. Jacobson and Chris Kading, along with Summit League's 6th Man of the Year, Dexter Werner. Now, Oral Roberts next in line after the Jacks and the Bison, with Fort Wayne and South Dakota in the top 5. Fort Wayne has Mo Evans and Max Landis back this year. South Dakota's got Trey Burnett and Casey Kasperbauer coming back. Now, this poll has been somewhat accurate over the years. The preseason favorite has won at least a share of the league title in 11 of the last 16 seasons, and that is 69%, I guess, if you want to call that somewhat accurate. Well, here are some of the stars you will see this season in men's basketball. The preseason all-league first team led by Obi Amegano at Oral Roberts. He averaged just over 18 points a game last season, and that is the most of any returning player this year. Garrett Covington of Western Illinois is on the first team. He was 4th in the league in scoring last year. A.J. Jacobson coming off an outstanding freshman year. He is the highest scorer back this season for North Dakota State. And then the Jackrabbits have 50% of the first team right now with their 3 senior guards, Parks and Marshall and the Jay Biddle. So what about the women? It is very close, but South Dakota State edges out South Dakota. The Coyotes are the defending regular season champions, and USD gets 15 of the 33 first-place votes in the preseason poll. But South Dakota State won the Summer League Tournament Championship for the 6th time in the last 7 years. The Jackrabbits get 17 of those 33 first-place votes, so it is really a toss-up as far as the favorite goes, but both the Jackrabbits and the Coyotes are going to be very good again. So will IUPUI. The Jags made the league tournament semifinals last year before falling to South Dakota. Oral Roberts does not have a player on the first or the second all-league teams, but all of those really good freshmen they had last year are back this year. The Eagles have 7 sophomores on the roster. And there is 1 sophomore on the preseason first team, Macy Miller at South Dakota State. She was top 10 in scoring and in assists last year as a freshman. Carrie Young will be a junior for the Jackrabbits, and the SDSU pair is joined by Paige Bradley at Denver. Bradley led the league in three-point shooting percentage last season. Nicole Seekamp back at the University of South Dakota. She is the preseason player of the year, was 4th in the league in scoring, led the league in assists last year. Akila Sims will be a senior at IUPUI. She scored 14 points a game last season for the Jaguars. And Michaela Shaw back at Omaha. She was top 5 in the league in scoring and in rebounding last year. Well, now that Omaha is eligible for the postseason, we have 9 teams that will be playing for 8 spots in the league tournament. Somebody's not going to get in. But Omaha, the men and the women, are picked to finish 7th in the league. That would get it done, and it would lead to the first tournament trip for the Mavericks.
It's huge for us. We're all so excited. It's really tough to watch all the other teams go and play in the tournament when we don't have a chance, but This year we're all super excited and hoping to make a really big impact on the tournament.
You work through the entire season. The conference season is a grind, and at the end of the year, the past 2 seasons, we've really surged at the end, and to be able to take that momentum into a conference tournament and say, hey, we have the same chance that everybody else does to go to the NCAA tournament is a big deal. And when we've, as a program and as a university, never been to the NCAA tournament in women's basketball, to be the first to do that is a big opportunity.
Well, Omaha's basketball teams will play in the brand new Baxter Arena this year. The women will host their first game there on November 4th, and the men get it going on their new home floor on November 13th. Basketball has a Media Day teleconference coming up on October 21st. If you have a burning question for your favorite Summit League coach, tweet it to @SummitHoops using hashtag #SLMediaDay. If it's used during the teleconference, you could win a Summit League prize. It might be a Tom Duple bobblehead. We're not sure yet. Anyway, soccer coming up next on the show. Lauren Miller is having a monster season at North Dakota State, and the Bison are the only unbeaten team in the league right now, while the Denver men pull out another road win to stay unbeaten on the season.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back now to men's soccer. There are 7 teams in the league, and only 4 of them will make the postseason tournament. Denver is still number 8 in the national rankings this week. The Pioneers are on top of the Summit League standings, but they got all they wanted from Oral Roberts over the weekend. The Pioneers and the Golden Eagles meeting up in Tulsa on Saturday night. Dan Jackson in goal for Denver doing his thing, punches that aside. 4 saves in the match for Jackson. And this one, coming up in the second half, was pretty spectacular. ORU keeps it alive, and Matt Rogers sends it out in front. Jackson goes flat out again to one-hand swat that away. Reagan Dunk gets a Denver goal in the 49th minute, and the Pioneers win this one over Oral Roberts 1-0. On the same night in Omaha, on Saturday, the Mavericks in Western Illinois. Bruce Corey is down there in the orange jersey for the Leathernecks, getting caught in a big mess out in front of the net and then scrambling back to the post to make a nice save for Corey. No score in the match until the second half, 49th minute. And look at this by Felipe De Silva. That is acrobatacular. And Omaha takes a 1-0 lead, but the Leathernecks come back and get the equalizer much later on. In the 85th minute, Drew Whalen with a header past Joseph Gittes that ties it 1-1. And then just over 2 minutes after that, Whalen gets loose again. He's got the game winner, and Western comes back late to get the 2-1 victory over Omaha. And here are your men's soccer players of the week. 2 of them from Western Illinois. Drew Whalen on offense. He had those 2 goals at Omaha, and he now leads the league in total points with 14. First Player of the Week award for Whalen, and the first for his teammate, Bruce Corey. He got the win against Omaha and had 8 saves in a win over Bradley earlier in the week. Corey is the co-keeper of the week along with Dan Jackson from Denver. The shutout for him against Oral Roberts, and he was in the net for that win over Gonzaga last Monday. And the match of the week coming up this week, by the way, is Denver at home against Omaha. Denver has the country's longest unbeaten streak, going right now at 25 games. Well, in women's soccer, North Dakota State played 2 double overtime matches over the weekend, won both of them, and the Bison now have won 4 straight 1-goal games to start the Summit League season. North Dakota State at Denver on Friday night. Pioneers still searching for their first win of the season, and they almost find it. Pick it up at 2-2 in the second half. Brittany Mueller with a screamer from 35 yards out for North Dakota State, and the Bison go up 3-2 with about 20 minutes to play. But 8 seconds after that, Denver knots it back up. Mary DeWalt going up the right side. Tyler Ivins sliding in on the back post to knock it in. And her first goal of the year ties it at 3. They go to double overtime. Lauren Miller has already scored twice for the Bison. She picks up the loose ball, cranks it. Cassidy Ray gets a piece of it, but it trickles in for the game winner. a hat trick for Lauren Miller, and the Bison pull this one out 4-3 in double overtime. So 7 goals in that one, just 1 in this one with South Dakota at North Dakota State on Sunday. The Coyotes put 5 shots on goal, and Sierra Bonham stopped every one of them. No score for 104 minutes, and then there is Lauren Michael Jordan Miller weaving and passing, and she gets the assist this time. Brittany Montian with a game-winning goal. North Dakota State is 9-5 overall on the season, and the Bison are now 4-0 in Summit League play. Well, South Dakota State had one match over the weekend. They won at Denver. SDSU senior defender Delaney Ratcliffe scored the only goal in that match. She is the league defensive player of the week. And notch another one for Lauren Miller at North Dakota State. Just a junior, but she is the offensive player of the week for the 7th time in her career now. That ties her for the most ever. Miller leads the league with 12 goals and 29 points. And North Dakota State has one match coming up this weekend at South Dakota State on Sunday. We got volleyball coming up next, including a big showdown over the weekend between Omaha and Denver.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back. Well, Fort Wayne and North Dakota State have the top performers in volleyball this week in the Summit League. First-time honors for both. Summer Johnson at IPFW. She is second in the league in kills and in kills per set right now. Johnson had a match-high 22 kills in a win over South Dakota State. She had 11 kills against North Dakota State, but the Bison win that match with Michaela Purnell doing it on defense. 23 digs against Fort Wayne. She had 18 more against IUPUI. And Purnell is 5th in the league in digs right now. North Dakota State is currently 5th in the league standings. Looking up at Denver at the top right now. Denver has won 5 matches in a row, including a showdown with Omaha on Sunday. In Denver on Sunday afternoon, Denver 5-1 in the Summit League coming into this match. Omaha was the league leader at 4-0. And Kelly Wallach with a match-high 9 kills for Omaha. Both teams really spread the offense around. Nobody with double-digit kills in the match. It was close in the first 2 sets. Denver takes them both. Sarah Schmid with 7 kills to lead Denver, and the Pioneers win the first set 25-21. They put in some extra work in set 2. Denver wins that one 29-27, and then they cruise in the third set 25-14, and Denver takes over the top spot in the Summit League standings at 6-1. IUPUI right behind them at 5-1, and then Omaha and Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts on the road on Sunday at South Dakota, and the Coyotes pull off the upset. USD rolls in the first set, 25-11. Oral Roberts comes back, wins the next 2. South Dakota wins the 4th, and then the Coyotes pull it out in the 5th, 15-8. That is the first Summit League win of the season for USD. They are now 4-1. Oral Roberts drops to 4-2 in league play. Up next, not boats, but yotes in the water. In Vermilion, South Dakota's swimmers getting their stroke on to start the Summit League season.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Well, Summit League swimming and diving teams are gearing up to get their seasons started. Optimism running high for everybody right now, including the Coyotes at the University of South Dakota.
We've been practicing for about a month, a little over a month now, and I think we're ready to start racing. The kids are sick of seeing my face every day and racing each other in practice, so they're excited to see some outside competition and get the season going.
Usually in the off season, I like to do a lot more running than usual. We run a lot once we get here, but I think you need a cross training. So I swim over the summer, but I also do a lot of running, and then I go home and weight lift with a weight coach. So by like doing a lot of running, I think it could like takes your legs to another level that you don't get from just swimming in the pool. Like you get a little bit of pounding, so those legs the muscles just get worked out more.
We have a long season, restart the first week of school and go to the third week in February. So we really try to approach the season as a process, kind of a journey to swimming fast at the end of the season. So we kind of look to go out and we kind of set the bar from our red-white meet last week, and we just look to improve each week from those performances and try to get better the whole season and take it really one meet at a time. I know that's coach talk, one meet at a time, but we really try to approach it that way and don't swallow the whole season at once, but really take it one meet at a time and improve each time we go out.
The team's mindset this year, I mean, we're really early in the season, but I feel we have a really good bunch of guys that are grouped together who like to work hard and really just enjoy swimming in general. It's a really big joy to come in and swim every day when those guys are trying to work as hard as they can to get better. And we like to push each other a lot. So, I mean, it's really easy to come and swim and lift if everyone's mindset's to work hard and get things done.
I think our goals are really to improve off of where we ended last year. And fourth on both sides of the conference championships. I think we can move up from there on both sides. We've got some goals to get to NCAAs in diving with Grayson. We've got some goals to get some NCAA B cuts and hopefully some Olympic trial cuts down the line. But we're really just looking to improve and get better each and every year. And with the squad we've got this year, with the freshman class and some transfers we have in, I definitely think we're on paper a better team than we were a year ago.
Well, South Dakota and Western Illinois had a season-opening duel in Vermilion on Saturday. USD wins the men's and the women's matchups, and the Coyotes have the first swimmers and divers of the week. Chase Testa wins the 1 meter and the 3 meter diving events. Grayson Herting does the same for the women at South Dakota. She has won Summit League Diver of the Week honors 21 times now in her career at South Dakota. And a couple of South Dakota freshmen are the swimmers of the week. Hunter Paget is from California. He set a new school record at USD in the 400 freestyle with a time of 4:11.42. And Quinn Fawcett is a freshman from Colorado. She wins the 200 meter freestyle in that duel with Western Illinois. Well, from the pool to poetry, off to Fort Wayne for the campus spotlight when we come back.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back, and finally this week we go to Fort Wayne in the campus spotlight and learn about poetry from the truthful liars in the Department of English and Linguistics.
Poetry can't be politically correct. I think poetry is truth-telling, and my saying is I think poets are the most truthful of liars. The poems that come from us reflect us. In that reflection, we see ourselves, and usually poetry is good at doing that. My research and creative endeavor lies in what I call urban Midwestern sensibility. I made this up, but basically what it addresses is me looking at the southern migrations, the 2 southern migrations moving up north, and my work tends to be about the people who've done that and addressing their lives, their deaths, how they live and move. My first book, which is actually my thesis for grad school, my MFA, is called Tough Boy Sonatas, and it kind of blurs everything because it's nonfiction, it's poetry, it's in a young adult genre. I teach fiction, I teach performance of poetry, so we're addressing how to perform poetry as well as how to find poetry. And the last class is an intro to poetry class. I get them to do a lot of creative writing, a lot of reading, and try to get them to see contemporary poets, to see more poets of color, that type of thing. Well, going back to the performance poetry class, they have to write a paper, and the paper is on interdisciplinary aspects of performance poetry and how does that play into other fields. That's what they're discovering, how even if I'm in computers or electronics or engineering, at the end of that engineering degree you have to do an assignment. And then the assignment, you have to write a proposal, and they have your teachers, your peers, and people from the community come in, see you. And so you have to do an oral report, and you have to represent all your research. That's one aspect that you can address, that performance helps you out in, stage presence and things of that nature. The first thing, when they're in the freshman and sophomore classes, I try to get them to get their voice. They have to have a voice. The reason that you like whoever it is that you like and read is because of their voice. When they connect with their voices, they begin to see how to address that in any writing that they do, because all you're doing from that point on is manipulating and adapting it to a persuasive paper, to a CV. If you're writing for the president and you get to understand persuasive speech, logos, and all that kind of thing. Once they get that, they're like, oh, I didn't know, because they don't know they have a voice a lot of times. They're just writing. And it's like, no, you have to write from your voice. I always have people coming to me from math and biology telling me how the techniques that I use in poetry help them in their other genres of learning. I say we have this skills box, just like we have a tool box. And we have skills in there. If there's a skill we don't have, we go out and get it, and then we add it to the skills box, just like if there's a tool we don't have, we do the same thing. So now you're just acquiring this knowledge and stuff that you can use and manipulate and adapt to whatever situation you're going to use it for.